Hi friends, welcome to SGK English for a new video. Today, let us learn a new poem, Aunt Jennifer's Tigers by Adrienne Rich. See, Aunt Jennifer's Tigers by Adrienne Rich. Okay, how to read that word? Just see. She was from 1929 to 2012. Yes, this 2012 is not there in your textbook. So her period 1929 to 2012. An American poetess she was. Okay, credited with bringing oppression of women. Women are oppressed, persecuted and made to suffer all over the world to the forefront of poetic discourse. Yes, she brought this topic, this subject to the forefront of poetic discourse, a theme for writing poetry. It was she who brought it to the forefront of poetic discourse. What topic here? What topic? Oppression of women. Women are persecuted at home, her place of work and everywhere. So she was an activist and a feminist too. Yes, working for the freedom of women. So equality is a good thing, but we know that gender equality, after all these centuries of development, culture and all, it is still an illusion. There is no real equality existing anywhere in the world. So one example is here, the story of Aunt Jennifer's Tigers. Okay, so introduction is given there about the poet. Once read that. See, we are coming directly into the poem. So before reading the lesson, let me request you to subscribe if you have not, and support me by giving a like, as well as enable the bell icon so that you get notified whenever I upload a new video. Okay, now come to the lesson. Aunt Jennifer's Tigers prance across a screen. See, prance means what? Strut about in a showy manner, walking with proud. See, proudly, I mean with pride, not that positive, but maybe little negative also. Pride can have two meanings, no? Negative and positive. I feel pride to be an Indian. That is a good thing, no? But a proud man feels that he is above everyone else. Abhimanam and ahankaram. Okay, na? Negative and positive. So walking, with pride, you see, walking to and fro, that is what is meant by prance, moving. You see, across a screen. You see, across a screen. Actually, it is not a real tiger. So she is stitching a tiger on a screen. Screen means maybe woolen cloth. You might have seen some cloth being hung on the wall to beautify it. So there will be embroidery work on that. So our Aunt Jennifer has created a tiger. You know, tiger is symbol of freedom. Symbol of freedom, is it not so? It is walking here and there. Aunt Jennifer's Tigers. Okay, they walk here and there. They are symbol of freedom. Actually, our poetess has created a character. You see? Which is symbol of freedom. The tiger stands for freedom, whereas our Aunt Jennifer stands for oppression, persecution, suffering. So she wants to become as free as the tiger, but she was unable to. So the author creates a character which is symbol of freedom, that is our tiger. Whereas our aunt herself is symbol of suffering, slavery, oppression, persecution. So as she was not able to get that freedom, see, our Aunt Jennifer is creating a symbol of freedom. On that cloth where she is doing some embroidery work. Okay, now? So that character, that tiger which she has created is prancing, you see, moving with freedom, with courage, with pride across that tablecloth. That means she has created a character which is symbol of freedom. Yes, bright topaz, denizens, you see, of a world of green. These tigers are, you see, denizens of, denizen meaning is given there, but simply it is the inhabitants of. So those who are residing there. Denizens of a world of green. See, world of green, of course, forest, tiger lives in a forest, forest is, you can find trees everywhere, green. So they are living in a world of green. So against the green background, these tigers are bright topaz. Topaz is a gem, that is stone has got some yellowish color. And the tiger also has somewhat yellowish color. So against the background of that forest which stands for green, hair color, hair means the tiger's color or his or her, we don't know. Okay, the tiger, color of the tiger is somewhat yellow. With yellowish color, just like, what's that, topaz, like the diamond or that gem topaz, so which is having an yellowish color. So, it moves against that green background of the forest. These tigers move, like bright topaz. So, having the color of that, gem topaz, it is moving against the background, green background of the forest. So, on Jennifer's tigers move in that piece of cloth where she is doing embroidery work or stitching them. See, against that forest background, green background, it is moving with the yellowish color of that topaz. Okay, now? Yes. They do not fear, these tigers, they don't fear. They are symbol of freedom, symbol of courage. They don't fear the men beneath the tree. Tigers never fear the men in the forest. So they don't fear the men in the tree. Men beneath the tree. They pace in sleek, chivalric certainty. They pace means move, walk in a chivalry. Chivalry means courage. Courage is a certainty, surety. So certainty of courage. So they move with, extraordinary courage. The tigers move with extraordinary courage. So on Jennifer's tigers move, not the real one, that piece of cloth she is stitching with extraordinary courage. Once again, see that first stanza. On Jennifer's tigers, they prance across a screen, they move, they move across a screen, bright topaz denizens of a world of green. Yes, they are bright and topaz denizens, inhabitants, of a world of green. In that world of green, they are inhabitants of bright topaz color. That means against the green background of the forest, they are people, inhabitants having that yellowish color. Okay, na? Just as like a topaz, like a gem. As same as actually, okay, of a world of green. They do not fear the men beneath the tree. Tigers never fear anything, even the men. They pace in sleek, chivalric certainty. They move in extraordinary courage. See whether you have understood the first stanza. Let us move to second. Now, stanza number 2. Aunt Jennifer's fingers fluttering. Yes. See, tiger is symbol of freedom. But what about our Aunt Jennifer? Her fingers fluttering means trembling out of fear. Through her wool, see, while stitching, while doing the embroidery work, her fingers are fluttering or shaking or shivering because of fear. Find even ivory needle hard to pull. To pull the needle itself very difficult for her. She is that much afraid. Why? She lives in a world of fear and terror. She lives in a world of fear and terror. She is symbol of all women. All women. Everyone. Each and every woman. And who is suffering. So she suffers a lot in her home. Domestic violence is there. First of all, she is afraid of her own husband. Maybe not exactly told. See, our author is creating a character, our Aunt Jennifer, who is symbol of suffering. So her hands are trembling. She is unable. It's very hard to pull the needle. Why? Because at any time her husband may come and scold her, beat her, persecute her. You see, all kinds of violence might be there. She is living in a world of terror and horror. She is so much afraid of, frightened. See, many girls are living in such a way in many villages, many houses. Recently you read the story of one Uttara. It's a dowry killing. What is that? Her husband came to her bedroom, and while they slept, the bedroom with a snake, poisonous snake, and the snake bit the girl and she died. It was not the first time. So he tried once or twice, it failed. Last third time only it was successful, because she was heir, successor of so much wealth. To get that money, the man purposefully killed her. So she came with a lot of money and all, for sake of money. Not only this one, many things are there. See, why you see very often newspaper, you see, gas stove blast. You see, the fire of the gas stove catches only the daughter-in-law, not the daughter. Many of the suicides that we see in the newspaper, not real suicides. Actually, they are murders. Okay, na? Many murderers are among us. See, there is a saying, scratch the modern man, you will see the savage. Once upon a time, we are all savages, living in the forest, wandering here and there, killing animals. That animal quality is there in every one of us. That will come out when there is a chance. Is it not so? Scratch the modern man, you see the savage. There is a savage in him. Basically, man is more powerful than woman. That is a real reason. So he won't exert his power and steal everything, including money. Okay, na? And the girl very often lives in a world of terror and horror. So such kind of a character is our Aunt Jennifer. See, our author has created a girl who is symbol of suffering. See, once again, last two lines. Aunt Jennifer's fingers fluttering. Her hands are trembling with fear. Through her wool, while stitching that embroidery work on the wool, creating the tiger, her hands are trembling. Even the ivory needle, hard to pull, unable to pull the needle because afraid of, frightened of, terrified of. Yes, the massive weight of uncle's wedding band, even the wedding ring which was given to her by her uncle, it becomes a heavy weight for her, unable to carry. Why? See, the thought of marriage itself is a reason for suffering for her. So that ring is there, but it has become a symbol of suffering. The marriage itself is suffering for her. She does not enjoy her married life. She is suffering. Symbol of suffering she is. See, even the wedding ring given, presented to her, we should be a symbol of happiness. When she looks at it, she would remember her uncle, auntie and all other relatives. But no, she doesn't think such a way. So that wedding ring itself, massive weight of uncle's wedding band, here wedding ring sits heavily upon Aunt Jennifer's hand. Even the ring presented to her by her uncle on the occasion of her marriage has become so heavy. It is become a burden. That's the exact word, burden. It has become a burden for her. She doesn't want to carry that because the marriage itself is a failure. She is suffering. First answer we saw. Our aunt has created a tiger, symbol of freedom, which she wants to become. The girl wants to be free. Live a happy life, but unable to. So she is creating a character, our tiger, which is symbol of freedom, but her life is a symbol of suffering. Okay, that is second stanza. Once read in 2 minutes or 1 minute or less than 1 minute. Aunt Jennifer's fingers fluttering. Why fluttering? You have to remember. Through her wool, find even the ivory needle hard to pull. The massive weight of uncle's wedding band sits heavily upon Aunt Jennifer's hand. When aunt is dead, of course, she will also die. She stands for every woman who suffers at home, everywhere. In marriage, symbol of suffering. Our Aunt Jennifer is a symbol of those who are suffering. When aunt is dead, her terrified hands will lie ringed with. See, even actually death is in a way a freedom from all the suffering of this world. Even in death, the suffering does not end because she lies with the same ring. Even after death, she is not free. See, rest in peace, RIP means rest in peace. That peace she does not get even after her death. See what happens when aunt is dead, her terrified hands terrified, see, will lie still ringed with, because even in death, her finger having that, ring presented to her by her uncle. With ordeals she was mastered by. That's the most important line of this poem. Ordeals means painful experiences. She was mastered by. See, who is the master? These ordeals. See, the ordeals, she has to experience, he is the master and she has to become a slave. See, that ordeals means that experiences painful experiences. She was mastered. See, she was mastered by the ordeals. And she lies there even in death with all the ordeals, having that ring in her hand. So she still ringed with, see, the ring is still there even after death, with all the ordeals she had to experience when she was alive. So still lies with that ring, on her finger, with all the ordeals, reminding her, see, all the ordeals she had to undergo when she was living that married life. Ordeals she was mastered by. She was mastered by the ordeals, that painful experiences. The tigers in the panel that she made, but the tigers in the panel that she made will go on prancing. They will be moving, jumping, walking, symbol of freedom. Proud and unafraid. The tigers will remain unafraid, but she will remain always terrified and frightened. So our aunt has created a tiger which is symbol of freedom, whereas she was symbol of suffering. Our poet has created our Aunt Jennifer as a symbol of suffering, to bring forth, to bring to notice the suffering of women all over the world. That is the story of Aunt Jennifer's tigers. I hope it is clear to you. Thank you for watching. Meet you with another video. Goodbye.